Hello, everybody. Richelle Mordecai with another episode of The Visionary Effect, the podcast for true visionaries. And I am honored today to have my good friend Constantin Moroga here. And Constantin and I go way back. We're going on 2 years that we have collaborated, worked together. He's one of those projects that I really carry around as my badge of honor or success because of the great results, a couple $1 million that we produced on the first year together with a fire initiative that's really that has taught us so much, has taught me absolutely a lot from that aspect of the program. But Constantine is a family guy with a gorgeous wife, with an amazing taste in music because him and I like a lot of techno. Just overall a nice guy. And he was so nice to come here today to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, about being part of this industry, how he, moved to America, created this amazing life for him and his family, and how he's really making an impact in his marketplace. So, Constantine, welcome and thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Yes. So why don't you tell us, if you had to introduce yourself in a couple minutes, tell us about you, your amazing journey, and then we'll go from there.
Where do you want me to start? If I had a couple of minutes, then I'd say just like you said, a simple family guy, like that likes to work hard. Um, moved to the US from, oh gosh, the other side of the world, when I was 21. And made this a new home for myself and my family. Uh, Jumped around from a couple of industries and started up a couple of businesses, and now here I am, I guess.
Amazing. How long have you been here? The other day I was celebrating that I've been in the US for 24 years. And talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly, I was remembering that my first job here, I got paid less than $1 an hour because I lived with a family, I was a nanny. I got paid, I think, 78 cents per hour. And people would ask me, why did you leave Brazil? Why did you drop out of law school to start getting paid that much? And my answer was, I wanted a life here. So I did what I had to do to build a life here. So tell us a little bit about, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us, like the hardships, like the opportunities, so that we can inspire people with your journey.
I don't know that my story is an inspiration, but uh, to answer your first question, I moved in United States in April of 2014, so that's about going on the 11th year right now. Uh, yeah, and I was a 21-year-old kid with an American dream, a bag of clothes, a couple $100, and just decided to take a flyer on this American dream that everyone was talking about. And turns out it's true. It's at least in my experience and opinion. So yeah,
In here.
uh, got me here. Really, it was more naive. I was just a naive kid. Don't know that I would have taken that risk now, but when you're 21, you kind of tend to do those types of moves in your life.
So many similarities. You came here as a 21-year-old. I came here the month before I turned 21. $300 in my pocket too. And I saw an amazing inspirational post that you had, and it was a picture of you sleeping in a car, starting everything. And I remember one time that I literally was homeless in a sense in America because I was in between jobs, and for me at least, like I think that you would agree with me, the lessons learned and the person that I became towards building this American dream that continues to expand, right? So it's and
Learning a new system, a new country, new language, and all that good thing. All those things. It's fascinating, but uh, I don't know. You just kind of feel accomplished once you get through all those obstacles.
And you, my friend, definitely has accomplished a lot. And this is what we're going to talk about today. And so let's start talking about your journey in, landing this opportunity with the restoration industry. What did you do before you joined the restoration industry?
Well, let's see. My first 5 or 6 months, I was a mover for a mom and pop moving company in Boston. Not one of the better areas in Boston, I will say that. But yeah, so that's what I did for the first 5 months. Then a couple of friends told me that trucking industry is really good and can help you really ramp up your, I don't know, career, your life, or whatever, from a financial standpoint. So I did that for about 5 years, just driving semi trucks coast to coast, Canada, Alaska, you name it, been everywhere. And yeah, that was a 5 year career for me until I started having kids and wife that was waiting for me home. My oldest kid, she was 2 at a time when we started the restoration, and we had another baby on the way. And that's when, not the light bulb, but that's what made me realize, like, I gotta do something else to be home and close to my family and the girls and everything. So yeah, that's what made me look for a change, and then I really stumbled into this industry, knew nothing about it.
That's amazing. So why the industry? So talking about light bulb moment, wanting to be home with the family, all that good stuff. Why restoration? How did restoration come to you?
Like I said, I pretty much stumbled into it. Maybe every person needs to have a little bit of a luck in their life. I'm a firm believer in that. But for me, the process was I started looking into different businesses and opportunities and stuff that I can do. And then I realized that I don't know much about, I don't know much about anything. So any other than trucking and a little bit of moving experience. So I figured, well, I'm gonna need some help. Where do you get help? You start a franchise because you're gonna have some support. At least that's what I'm hoping to do, which we did have great support with Restoration One. So then I started looking at different franchises. Couldn't make a decision. Had to go. Really, there were so many of them. So I was like, I need some help here. So uh, I started talking to this person. Her name is Judy. She's like a franchise broker. So she did a personality assessment for me and my goals, and um, what I want to do and what I'm good at, what I'm bad at. And so she then narrowed it down to 5 franchisees or franchises, and then I started talking with each and every one of them individually, and then one of them was Restoration One. So uh, kind of like their business model and what they were doing and the numbers and all that combined, figured I'd give them a shot, and uh, turned out pretty well.
Here we are.
Yeah.
So were all those companies in the restoration world?
No.
They were different franchises.
Junk removal company, a flooring retail store, um, a painting company, and then I don't remember what was the other one.
Okay. And then restoration. That's awesome. And it's interesting because I remember meeting you through our good friend Jeff Deem, who said, you guys should connect. And I still work with Jeff and collaborate with him so well. And I remember our first meeting, looking at the numbers, looking at all that you had achieved. I couldn't help but thinking, this is somebody that I would like to personally get to know, because for me, at least I feel this way. I feel like life is not about what I get, it's who I become towards accomplishing my goals. Right. And how long have you been with Restoration One right now? How long have you had your business for?
It'll be 5 years in precisely 3 days.
Wow.
So
Wow. Happy work anniversary. That's so great. So let's talk about lessons learned. I think it's so important. So many people that are listening to the podcast right now. Thank you, everybody who listens to me. Sometimes I can't stand listening to my voice, but you guys can. That's great. But so many people are asking me, Richelli, I would really like to know the good, the bad, and the ugly before I make this decision. I wanted to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. Should I go independent? Should I get support? What questions should I ask? And with that, I would like to play this little game of had I known then what I know now, and the choices that we would have made. So you already answered one, but I want to ask again. Had you known then what you know now, would you have moved to America when you were 21?
the answer to that is absolutely yes.
Same
Probably
way.
one of the best decisions I've ever made.
I feel the same. I feel the same. And I'm glad that my country of Brazil doesn't necessarily believes that I should only be America. So I have American, so I have dual passport, but my heart is red, white, and blue, and such an opportunity to be here. Very good. Had you known then what you know now, you talked about being in Boston. Would you have started in Boston or went straight to the West Coast where you are right now?
Ooh, I I think the event and the sequences that happened in in my American journey led me to where I'm at, where I am right now. So no, I probably would not have skipped that 5 month period in Boston.
Love that. You're so fun. You're like glass half full kind of guy. That's
But
admirable. Okay. Had you known then what you know now, would you have joined the restoration industry?
yes, to be honest with you, yes. Had I known then what I know now, I probably would have gotten into it much sooner.
Okay.
Um,
Why?
uh, it's just um, it's an industry that I really find myself in. I love helping people. I love to um, be for my company to be the hero, and my people to be the hero when they go in a stressful situation, and they're the ones that are calming everyone down. Like, hey, here's what we're gonna do. Here's what you should expect, and we're gonna get your house, which for a lot of people is the greatest investment they're ever gonna have in their lives. We're gonna get it back to you the way it was or better, which gives them that calm. So yes, that's I really love doing that, and I would have done that sooner if I had an opportunity or knew or known about it.
That's really good. Had you known then what you know now, what questions would you have asked your mentors in the industry from the get-go?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I've asked this question. I've asked this question in the beginning, though I chose to not follow the advice I was given. So I'm just gonna put it that way. In the very beginning, I was told to focus more on the sales aspect of the business, and I chose to shift my mind to the operations. So if I had to redo this again, I would definitely focus more on sales in the first couple of years.
So what I'm hearing is that you would have magically stumbled across me from year one and we would have worked together. No, that's just a hope. That's just a hope.
Where it would be if we met year one.
Yeah, it would have. And I love that you said that because it's one of the things that I always tell people. It's the following. Every company should be a sales organization because you only have a product to deliver or a service to deliver if you have people knowing about what you do. And I believe that fortunately or unfortunately, our industry is ops driven. It's not sales driven. And because it's ops driven, we have mandatory certifications for operations. But, how many owners actually invest on training the team for sales? You did. I remember going to your office February last year for us to do that. But because it's not mandatory, it takes a visionary to say, my team has to go through these things because it's not mandatory. So what your lesson learned was, what do I need to do for sales right away, right? To get things started. Okay. Knowing then what you know now, who would be the first person that you would have hired for your whole business? Would it have been a technician or would it have been your BDM?
Um, it definitely would have been a BDM, which that's actually what happened. Jerry, he was actually the first hire, and still with us, great guy. And yeah, I wouldn't have changed that. Though I think one of the, as a newbie, in this business, still, even I was kind of pulling him back to, or holding him back to like help with ops and all of that. So, I realize now that taking his time out of the sales, and going after businesses and whatnot, maybe has hurt us in some way. So I wouldn't have done that mistake. Um, even though it's very painful in the beginning because you feel like you need to, get those jobs done.
Yes, and that is a very common, I won't even say mistake, but pattern of behavior, because it's like you already did great. The first hire was a BDM. Let's get the phone ringing. But then it's like we get busy. Okay, stop what you're doing and come here. And I usually tell people that will be similar to, you have a farmer planting seeds, and instead of having that farmer going back to water the seeds, you're like, well, I have this other crop here that is ready for harvest. So just and that is a lesson learned. That's really good.
Yeah.
Knowing then what you know now, if you were to look at yourself 5 years ago, what would be the 5 top things that you would have counseled yourself or given as counsel to yourself to prepare for this journey?
Um, I'm gonna summarize all 5 of them in one, and just get mentors, outside help, consultants. That has really helped us. It could be someone from the outside. It could be someone within your group, like we have our one owners group. Just get someone that has done it, and has done it at a high level, and just follow their steps. Don't try to tackle every problem, every issue, every idea without any ideas and outside help. So the moment I realized that, that's kind of when we took off.
Okay, hired consultants right away, identifying your support team. What else?
Uh, Building a team, and I'm going to just combine the sales team and the ops team, but building a great team is always going to be a crucial key for any business, not just restoration, but having a team that you can fall back and rely on, and know that they're going to do what they're supposed to do, know that they're going to sell or take care of the ops, is really, and I'm very fortunate to be having an awesome team, which I thank each and every one of them. But yeah, building a team, I would say is up there.
Very good. What else? Maybe this the third one, the third thing that you're like, if I could go back in time, this will be the third thing that I'll tell myself to prepare myself for this journey.
Uh, I'm gonna give one more, and I think I'll probably top out. And I don't know if this is one that every business owner out there can do or implement, but really bringing my wife into this business, because she stayed out for the first couple of years, and then when she came in, and having that person that has the same goals as you have and working in the business together has paid huge dividends, and we would not have been here where we are today without her joining, being part of the team. So props to her.
She is amazing. So with that, I love that you brought Lunita into this conversation. paying high dividends, but we all know, for us that have worked with our spouses at one point or another, that it's not all rainbows and roses and butterflies. So what are the top lessons that you have learned from working with your amazing wife and running this business?
Lessons. Well, I told you about the benefits. Lessons, I would say, this one is tough, but I feel like we've done a pretty good job of compartmentalizing work and family, because it could really, be stressful if you take the work home, or if you bring home into the office. So learning how to separate those things, and like I said, I feel like we've done a pretty good job about it. Um, it's crucial in any couple's business, and also dedicating time and setting time aside for the family. I know a lot of the business owners feel like owning a business is not a 8 to 5 job, which I agree it isn't, but we do need that time set aside for our families, and just just because families, one of the greatest assets we have. So separating time for the family, leaving the business behind, just maybe even if that's a couple of hours or a couple of days on a weekend, is very important. It's something that we do very regularly.
That's awesome. I love that you shared that, because I have been working with my husband for 16 years right now. And one of the things that we have learned is that's a very fine line between a date night that turns into a business meeting, right? And even though I like to write everything off, he would say, that this is a date night, right? He was like, I'm literally flirting with you and you're having a business conversation with me. But I love that you said, like, structure time. Yes, we know that's not an 8 to 5, especially in our industry, but don't be casual about your greatest asset, which is your family. And if you're going to have your greatest asset helping you to be also the greatest asset in what you're building, define the parameters, right? When, and I remember, and I worked with you for, gosh, over a year. And I remember you saying, I'm off at this time because I'm with the girls. And I've also seen in some situations where we would talk and you're like, the girls are in the background, so we only have this couple of minutes. So also having, what would you say, that it's also healthy to have some flexibility, if you will, if there's something that is urgent and still needs to be addressed, and kind of, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, very good.
That's the business we're in. You have to be flexible, but phone's it's not always going to ring at 2 o'clock in the morning, or during dinner, or during date night. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the questions that I also wanted to ask you, because for me, it's really fascinating, and it has helped me. What would you say, as an immigrant, some of the lessons or the struggles that you went through that prepared you for starting a new career? Do you see any similarities? And if there aren't, no problem. But for me, I like, in my case, I would say that, I was in Brazil, I had a comfortable life. I was, I dropped out of law school and came here to make nothing, like I said, but that helped me to, when this opportunity of a less glamorous, if you will, industry came to me, that instead of being like, oh my gosh, like, that's not really for me, I'm like, I was a nanny before, I clean houses. Nothing scares me anymore. I can go do a pack out on a fire. Do you see that there's any maybe lessons learned from moving here, reinventing your life, that maybe helped you to just look at this industry and say, I can handle this, no big deal, or no?
Yeah, no, one of the biggest lessons, I guess, as an immigrant, is just to try to understand and adopt, the system, the U.S. system, right? Where we come from. I imagine from Brazil and Moldova, totally different worlds, and the way things happen and whatnot. So just really learning to adopt the lifestyle and the system and how things work in America and everything. I feel like it's probably one of the best things I've done, just being on board with the American system early on.
Yeah. I agree. It's like learning that it's not my way or the highway. There are rules of engagement, and our industry as a whole, it's a lot of rules of engagement. I mean, most people, I think the average is a homeowner is going to go through a property loss once every 10 years. So most people
Right.
don't even know that we exist until that happens. And we really needed to, and you guys do amazing with firework over there, and it's so traumatic. You really have to hold their hand through the process, educate them, not take not take their rejection personally, and more like they are scared, they don't know, this is a new system for them, right, that we need to introduce them to. So
Absolutely.
what would you say was your and we're coming up here on the time, but what would you say was your biggest accomplishment in this industry so far?
For me, it's always going to be going back to the team. It's always going to be my team of people. The number of lives. I'm talking here about my employees, not my customers, but the numbers of lives I was able to impact and make a big impact into their personal lives and their families, and seeing the growth from because we'll have entry level technicians that make six-figure salaries currently in their the vacations they take, and all those things, and the new cars they drive in to work every day, and they're so proud of it. So yeah, that gives me great joy, just knowing where they started and where they are right now, and that I was a big part of that, uh, just fills my heart.
That's awesome. Now we talked about the big success. What do you think was the biggest struggle that you went through as an owner of a restoration company in the last 5 years?
I guess understanding, and I'm not more of a comply type of person, but understanding the insurance game and rules and how they dictate certain things that I don't necessarily agree with in our industry. Uh, Definitely not fun. Still dealing with that. But yeah, if I had to name a struggle, that would be it.
So with that, what do you think was the biggest lesson learned in working with insurance carriers?
Um, Make their job easy, and they'll be your best friend.
Very good. I know that you're in the Seattle market. What would you say is the biggest struggle of your marketplace right now, and also the greatest opportunity in your marketplace?
I think the greatest struggle, not this is this, every market can probably relate to that, but going back to the insurance companies and their aggressiveness. I don't know if I can express myself that way, in how they do business, and not necessarily putting the customers first. I would say that's the biggest challenge right now. Um, and then the opportunity is, um, I don't know. I think I always like to say we live, the Seattle area, and people who live here know what I'm talking about. We live in a mildly miserable weather, state of weather-wise, which creates work opportunities for us. So
Yeah, yeah, it's true. I remember joining the industry in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I used to complain all the time when it was foggy and windy and rainy. And I remember my boss said to me, every time that starts raining, it's money falling from the skies. Be grateful. If you want a vacation, go to San Diego, but be grateful that that's our yeah, work condition for sure. And I agree with you. And it's not really talking about one carrier bad about one carrier or the other. But the reality is, if we really think about it, insurance agents are probably the only professionals that start a business because they like sales, but know very little about what happens when they have to deliver on the product they sold, right?
isn't
And
it amazing?
it is shocking, especially when we hear numbers. and those are numbers pre-COVID, that 53% of all policyholders leave the carrier after a claims experience. And the greater majority is because of bad customer service experience. And the other part of that, it's because they're being canceled out, right? Or asked to leave the carrier. And that is a challenge too, educating agents on, hey, somebody paid you. When it's time to cash in, they are going to expect your help, right? And all the nuances of that. Greatest personal accomplishment in your whole life, would you say?
It's got to be my wife and kids. Nothing tops that. But you know, the business, developing the business to the size, to the current size is, is right up there.
That's amazing. Was it always your dream to have your own business?
Yes. This goes back to, the way I was raised. My father was never an employee of anyone, so I think I was kind of conditioned to think that way. So yeah, I always knew I was going to be owning a business or doing something on my own.
Very good. Now, to finalize here, we know that the journey of the entrepreneur is not an easy one. The journey of a visionary is a tough one. How do you handle failure? What does failure mean to you?
I try to look at failure as I'm looking at a lesson learned. Is it always fun? No. I just try to never overreact to failure. Take a day or two, sleep on it, and then make your decisions. Based on what went wrong and the failure. But at the end of the day, it is a lesson learned. So that's how I most times try to look at it.
Well, I can vouch for that, at least for the time we work together. That's true. And then my final question, then we're going to say our goodbyes. What would be your ultimate advice for somebody that's considering to join the industry?
Well, my number one advice, if you're considering, do it. Join the industry. I'm gonna say, besides that, is hire someone that can help you. Join a group of your peers. Don't try to solve every problem alone. That's gonna tremendously slow down your growth as a company, as an individual in this industry. So just get help.
Very good.
There's help out there.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much. This was a great pleasure. And to everybody who's listening to us here, thank you so much for watching us and listening to us today. And I hope that this visionary podcast helped you to continue on your journey as a visionary and achieve your goals. Thank you very much, everybody.